Listen to music offline. YouTube Music Premium. Start a 1-month free trial.
Okay. So we're going to get started. So welcome everybody. Welcome back from your last session. I know you didn't get a break there. Hopefully you had at least a minute to go run and I think I didn't stop my music. I'm enjoying it too much. So hopefully you got a chance to run down the hall, grab something to eat, and come back and join us for our lunchtime learning series. I know that the sessions have been really amazing. I've been popping in and out of them, and so many great presenters and sessions going on. Those of you who made our morning one, the opening panel, that was really impressive. I personally got a lot out of that. It's not just because my wife was one of the panelists. Molly did a good job. They are all amazing. John, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, so I know our attendance is a little bit lower right now. Hopefully everybody just got out of their session and they're changing into their Hawaiian shirts. As promised, I wore one, took a picture, posted it. So make sure throw your tropical shirt on, tweet a picture, hashtag IE Google Camp, and we're gonna randomize. We're gonna go out and pick 5 people to win free 2022 Google Camp registration. We'll be letting you guys know about that as soon as we find the people. So, anyway, so that we got that going on, and once again we have some free books to give away, and we want to make sure we got Alice Keeler here to talk about her book.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited. Let me put down here in the chat, this isn't my book, but I'd like to give a free membership to anyone who wants to fill out this Google form. I won't put you on any spam list or anything. I had a snafu earlier where the session time was put in incorrectly onto my calendar, so I apologize. So to make up for that, I'd like to offer free membership to anyone who has access to the chat right now. So if you fill out that link, I'll get that set up for you later today. I have my new book.
That's awesome. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you. That is a $249 value. I have my new book, Teaching with Google Jamboard, and I'm sending a few copies to Dennis to give away. I think this is my best book yet. I have 180 samples for how you can go past using Google Jamboard to recreate paper to really make that difference. So when we heard what Sunny said yesterday in the keynote, I actually just memorized all that statistics that he said, right? It's a 0.34 effectiveness rating, effect size for using technology, and it's 1.6 when you use it differently. So I want to help you to use it differently, think about how to get kids to be creators, and thanks for letting me share my book.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Alice.
180 examples, and use one a day. That's a school year.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So let me go ahead and pull from the randomizer and see what we got.
We gave away 3 of them yesterday. We're giving away 2 more today.
Yeah. So okay. So it looks like Trisha Lopez from Mission Vista Academy.
Mission Vista.
So congratulations.
Congratulations, Trisha.
All right. And again, it looks like Nuri Araviaga from LAUSD.
All right, Nuri.
Awesome. And then I know we've got Sonny Magana said he was giving away a couple today.
Oh, that's right.
So we'll go ahead and do those. But first, just a huge thank you again to Alice for the donation of those books. And I'm sure that there are, just amazing people there are people that are very excited to get those books. And as you guys can see on the slide, remember, if you didn't win one, it's also available Amazon and Barnes and Noble. All right. So for the book for Sonny Magana, Disruptive Classroom Technologies, it looks like the first winner is, I'll have to read the email address. So it's Z Asafi at Kern, or from Kern camp, at kern.org.
Oh, Zach Safi. Zach, big winner.
All right. All right. Next one. It looks like M Percar. That's Purcar. That's
Oh.
from Corona Norco. So, and again, if I'm totally butchering these things, remember, I'll go ahead and shoot you an email. We'll do that. I know that some email addresses aren't as easy as to read as
Oh.
others.
Yeah, she actually presented for Google Camp.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And last, it looks like looks like we have Amy Davis from Mission Vista Academy.
Another Mission Vista, Amy from Mission Vista. All right.
All right. So thank you all very much for doing that. And thank you both, Alice and Sunny. We really do appreciate that. And I'm sure everybody appreciates it as well.
All right. Very cool. It looks like, Alice, you posted that we already have a bunch of people taking you up on that free membership. Excellent.
Yeah, 47. So I'm gonna shut that down in a couple minutes. So please fill it out now. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Alice. All right. Thanks, John. What we want to spend all our time on here during this live session is our panel from the Equity in Action California group. I'm going to let them introduce themselves in just a second. I just want to share my appreciation. These are amazing humans and doing great work, and they've got some really interesting stuff to share with you. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I think Leticia, you're the one who's going to share your screen. And I don't know if it's Sue or who that's going to kick off first.
I will be kicking us off. All right, Leticia's
Okay,
sharing
Sue.
her screen. Leticia, you want to say anything about how to get in before we get started?
Yeah, sorry, I'm like trying to manage all my screens. Yes, so I've placed the link in the chat for you to join our Nearpod presentation. We do have some interactive pieces that we would love for you to engage in. So if you're not able to just click on that link, go ahead and copy it and then paste it into your browser, and it will take you directly there. There's a space, it will like pop up, it'll ask you to type your name. That's all you need to do, click join, and then you should see the same slide that we are presenting to you. If you are working with one device, then I would just say focus on your login to the Nearpod, because it'll be the exact same thing.
Absolutely. And as long as you can hear us, and you will be able to participate, and we're going to ask for some feedback today and do some modeling of activities for you. So yeah, so we're all good to go. Yeah, okay.
And
so,
if you prefer not to join Nearpod, you can just place it in the chat.
Absolutely. Or sit back and listen if you're making lunch for all your kiddos, right? We know everybody's, or whatever you got going on. So by all means, participate however you feel most comfortable today. So we are talking here about social and emotional learning and creating spaces specifically for our students of color. And so if you are unfamiliar with who we are as the Equity in Action group, we are a group of folks who have gotten together. We're just educators here in Southern California, and this is all of our names and our Twitter handles. We have Dr. T211-1, who is here with us today. There he is. And Jennifer, thanks to Tool. Jennifer Dean is not with us today, but she is pictured there and she is part of our group, as well as Nairi Clark. She is also part of our group. And then we also have Leticia Citizen, who you just heard from, and Tori Wadlington, who will be taking us through some activities in a little bit. And myself, I'm Sue Thoughts. And for more information about us, we can also share our information. And you'll see us on our Twitter handles and on Twitter and with our website and all that good stuff. So what we do as an organization, we are just 6 people, really just working grassroots to try to support learning spaces to diversify here in Southern California. So these conferences that we're at are places where we're trying to get more folks of color to become involved as not only attendees, but also as presenters. We also want to share ideas and strategies for these conferences and spaces to design welcoming spaces for inclusion and trying to help them be more welcoming in the ways in which they present out and share with folks, as well as build a network of BIPOC folks to attend, share, and really present. So trying to help our friends, be able to become confident presenters and share their great ideas and topics and all this stuff. So really, today we mostly focus on adults and learning in these spaces, but today we really want to focus on students and the ways in which we can create social and emotional learning activities that help build that self-awareness. Because as we know, it is the foundation of equity. It is a foundation of, of social and emotional learning. And today, Leticia is going to talk a little bit more generally, and then we'll do some activities with Tori. So Leticia, here we go.
All right, so Tori and I, and even Sue, like we sat around and we talked about just some ways that not only that we connect with all of our students, but we had to sit there and think like, how do we purposely like connect with our students of color? And I have to tell you, it was a weird space to like talk about that because we just know that we connect with our students. Like we, didn't think like, oh, we were like separating our students or anything like that. But at the same time, we were being intentional about making sure that we were bringing in all of our students, but even more so our students of color, because that was typically my population that I was dealing with. And so when Sue like posed that question and we sat around and talked about these things, it was interesting the ideas and the strategies and just our normal daily lives, how we were operating and connecting with our students. So again, I'll just kind of go over some things that we were doing in our classrooms, and then Tori will dive more into like some of those activities. So, right off the top, we were creating class directives together, like not setting up those rules, but actually having our students to do that. And even with setting up those directives and how our class is going to function together and creating those playlists together and learning together and making sure that everyone felt together, it was interesting to see the kind of ideas that our students had for our class and how it really connected to their past experiences of being compliant and, saying things like, oh, we can't talk, and oh, we should raise our hand if we need to do whatever, and really having our students take a step back and have that conversation about like, well, what does it mean for you to say like not to talk, and that to move around the classroom, you have to raise your hand, and really helping them move into a space of how would we want to operate in this space, and how do you, maybe what you do at home or how you aspire that our class would operate. And so that way you can learn and make mistakes and share and do all those things and bring your whole self. How can we do that in the classroom? So really having those conversations and being intentional about that. Trying out and doing mystery Skyping with other classes really allowed our students to all be on the same team and, learning from those other classes. So I remember we would mystery Skype with the class and we learned about bluegrass music. And then our students taking that and saying like, hey, we want to learn more about this. And now that became part of what we were doing in our classroom, and really exploring and taking a step out of what we were doing, but then also bringing in, well, how does that compare to like hip hop? How does that compare to rap? How does that compare to classical, whatever that is? So making those comparisons, and then always taking time to debrief with our students as a class, setting up those spaces so that all students could contribute. And one of the definite questions that we always had after mystery Skyping was, what was something that this class said or did that we want to now bring into how we are mystery Skyping or how we are operating in our classroom? And so really allowing our students to share in that space, whether it's on tech with like Padlet and the collaborative slide, or doing it on Post-its and like doing a gallery walk around the classroom, but giving students the space to really have to take that agency and really contribute their voice and what they're thinking and how they want to function in our class. Asking them about their feelings and emotions, being curious about your kids' social and emotional lives, right? It should be interwoven into everything that you're doing throughout the day, not just, oh, we have an SEL time and that's it. It's done when you are using closed reading. So we did a lot of closed reading and interacting with primary sources, and just asking students like, what did you love about it? Why? What questions do you have? What connections can you make to it? How does this remind you of something else? But again, maximizing those opportunities for students to always share and make those connections. And in those ways, they are truly demonstrating and sharing who they are bit by bit. Giving a variety of ways to express themselves multiple times throughout the day. Again, I know restorative circles are huge in districts, in classrooms, and my issue with that was because it was to be done in the morning and one and done, and then that's it, right? And then we do it the next morning. And my thing is things are happening throughout the day, and that shouldn't be the only time that students are bringing themselves. So really setting up these opportunities through these different activities for students to do it all day long. And as the teacher and as the facilitator, I'm not just at the front of the classroom and directing everything. They are doing all the talking, because those who talk are the ones who are doing the learning, right? So this is my opportunity. I'm soaking it all up, and they're soaking it all up and learning about each other. So really allowing those times to, not to say that you can't do restorative circles. Hey, by all means do it, but just to know that you are checking in with your students all day long, and it's through these different activities and different learning opportunities for them to express themselves. This can be done during coding, right? Closed reading, science, poetry, digital citizenship activities, just all the time students are contributing. They're not just sitting, getting all the information, but they are participating and contributing as much as possible. And then what I did this summer, right? That's a huge thing that we're about to come back in, and even more so than before. Really think about that question. Is that something that you want to ask students, right? Right? Tell me what you did this summer. For some, it may be traumatic. For some, they don't want to share that. So really finding ways to word that question, to be prepared. Here's the other thing. If you're going to pose that question, be prepared for what students write. Be prepared for students not to write. And also don't set it up as this happy-go-lucky, hey, we all went on a camping trip or we all went on a field trip. Just really, you need to think about, as teachers, we need to think about these things when we're posing it to students. And then lastly, just create an environment that feels like a home. And I don't want to, I always am careful about saying create an environment for students to feel like their home, because their home might not be that space that they want to feel like either. So working together to create a home space. I always told students, this domain, you're here for about 6 to 8 hours or whatever that is. This is our home. So how do we want to operate in our home? We get to drive that. We get to make those decisions. And I see the comments are coming in, but I want to go ahead and now turn it over to Tori.
Awesome. All right, guys. So if you're on Nearpod, I want to start this off the way I start my classes off, at least during the pandemic when we were virtual. But please go in there and choose a color based on how you feel. And I believe red is angry. I can't really read it from here. I think green is happy. Blue might be sad. Yellow might be surprised. Purple might be anxious, and orange might be scared. But go ahead and thank you so much. I was just trying to use my supervision. So, and I got almost all of them right. Green is happy, blue is sad, purple is anxious, red is angry, orange is afraid, and yellow is surprised. So this is a great way to start your class. It kind of lets me know what mood my students are in. I am a special, you can pick 2 if you like to. I'm a special education teacher, and I started off working with students with emotional disturbances and trauma and just all of these things. So I never knew what kind of day I would get. So I started giving students a way to check in as soon as they got in. I did start my morning, and I was instructed to start my morning with work immediately. And I was like, that's kind of whack. I don't know, how their morning was, how their night was. I want them to come in and first be able to catch their breath, and we can see where they are. And I'm sorry, Angela, I'm going to email Nearpod today and let them know you need to pick 2 next time. But I start letting the students know, hey, it's okay to let me know how you feel coming in. It lets me know, hey, we may not need to jump into work for the next couple of hours. I might need to take time to address some of these feelings and give the students time to kind of reflect and process and do whatever they need to do so that we can start the day on a right note. So I'll give you guys maybe 15 more seconds, and then we'll kind of move forward. And I'm hoping we got a lot of greens in there, and it's okay if we don't either. That's also okay.
I love.
I can share it out. You want me to share with the result?
That would be lovely.
But I love
Please.
starting off the day with something like this, right? Your class. So whether it's morning, afternoon, whatever, that start off this, because something can happen at lunchtime where your day was going great and all of a sudden, boom, it hit, you know,
just never
something
know.
happened, there's a phone call, text, whatever the case may be, and giving kids the opportunity to kind of speak or at least put it someplace. Really important.
Oh yeah, I've had that where I asked the parents how were they this morning, and they're like they were fine, but then something happened on the bus trip there that just completely changed everything. So I brought that up to kind of segue into this. How familiar are you guys with imposter syndrome and how much stuff like anxiety and depression and different emotions can really just mess with somebody's mind? And we're going to address it according to students. Now the clue vary. And usually once I explain what it is, people are like, oh, I know exactly what it is. So it always surprises me when I see all the, I don't know what it is, I'm not sure. And then immediately after, it's like, oh man, I know someone who has it, or I may have it myself. So I'm getting very familiar with it as of late. I just learned about it maybe in March, I would say. Maybe in March I learned about it, and I learned it was something that both myself and my students struggled with. So yeah, lots of not very. Some think they have it, somewhat familiar, semi-familiar, very, encounter often. Yeah, it's a very real thing. It's a very real thing. So the definition of it is like a collection of feelings of inadequacy that persists despite evidence of success. And I first started kind of researching this in terms of how a teacher would deal with imposter syndrome. And in my research, I realized a lot of the data correlated to my students as well, especially because of last year. Just 2020, with all the trauma alone, just from the pandemic, from racial injustice and a lot of things going on there, a lot of financial things, a lot of people's families, you know, lost jobs and really changed the whole socioeconomic status and how they lived. I learned that imposter syndrome is linked to childhood trauma, and more children experienced childhood trauma last year than like for a while. I don't have the exact year, but it's like last year there was so much childhood trauma that as a result, when I came into school last August, it seemed like every student I talked to, no matter what grade level it was, just said, oh, I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. And especially the students of color, because of all the racial injustice, they were almost scared to attempt to, excuse me, speak up or ask for help or even state they don't know what they're doing because they were too worried about so many other things going on in their mind that they couldn't even focus on how adequate they were. And this goes for every student. And so I've decided to kind of like model my classroom as a safe space that's essentially like anti-imposter syndrome. There is nothing but constant reminders of how capable you are, regardless of your background, socioeconomic, ethnic, racial, anything. When you're in my classroom, you know you are capable, you know you are supported, you know you are loved, and you know that everyone and everything in that classroom is created to propel you forward and make sure you maintain success throughout your whole educational career. Excuse me again. I'm sorry, it's so dry out here. So now that you kind of know what it is, students who are just kind of like randomly, oh, I don't know what to do anymore. I don't think I can do it. And you have those students who are killing it at reading when they read with you one-on-one, but then when it's to read with a group, all of a sudden they don't know what to do. So do you guys think you know any students doing it? Yeah, right? It's like almost every kid recently. And I personally attribute it to how schools used to be ran. Now, all you guys are fantastic, phenomenal, because you're here and you want to grow and you want to learn. You're evolving with the times. But there are many teachers who are still very traditional. And I remember being in school and teachers calling you out for not knowing stuff like, am I not here to learn? Like, obviously I don't know it because I'm here to learn. And then you have to you have to think about sometimes that certain backgrounds for students and students of color, that might hit differently with them because they already think that the world doesn't accept them and thinks that they're lesser than. So when it's coming from the one person in their life that's supposed to be like pushing knowledge and wisdom and love and just success on them, it really, really kills them. And you may think, oh, I'll say to all my students, but it's just like, hey, no, you got to learn how to rephrase things. And so I have a few strategies that we all talked about as a group that I think could really help you. And preparation is the first most important thing. Well, one of them, they're all super important, but this is the first thing I'm gonna talk about. So preparation is key. So at the beginning of last year, I had moved from 5th grade to kindergarten and 1st grade, RSP. And so I had known my students prior from 2nd through 5th grade. So I knew them very well under their parents. I was their aide first and I became their teacher. So last year, knowing I was getting into a whole new group of families and everything, I sent this out to the parents of, all my students, where they would fill this out, let me know, like, hey, I'm excited about this. We're nervous about this. This happened over the summer. It was post, well, not post pandemic, but post like super quarantine. So it was like all these things had changed in their life, and I wanted to, and I needed to know that coming into this year, so that I could create the best classroom possible for all of my students. And each of these was followed up with a one-on-one Zoom meeting with the parents. That wasn't an IEP. It was just us just talking. The kid was there. I said, bring some food, be in your pajamas, it's whatever. We just chilled and talked for about 30 minutes and really got to know each other, the ins and outs of each other. So I told them about my summer, the goods and bads, and it just became a closer bond. Then for my 1st grade students who were a little bit more tech savvy, I had them complete this during our very first like week of seeing each other. And they were just telling me about their favorite foods and their favorite parts of summer. And even in our Zoom meeting, they can tell me literally anything. I saw so many toys last year. It was ridiculous. Like every kid had a toy review for me. Every time we had a session, they wanted to show me their Pokemon cards. They were surprised I knew about Pokemon. And we just had a great time, but it just strengthened that bond. And for my students of color, I was very, very flexible. Well, I don't want to say flexible, but open and sensitive, because I was also experiencing things that I knew they were experiencing. I knew the fear they had kind of going outside after seeing the news, or not having the full understanding of what protests are and different things, and just being scared to be out in the world and be themselves. I made sure to kind of dedicate time for reflection for all my students. We opened up with a quiet time, a little mindfulness activity. Let's just be quiet. Let's just kind of think, and then we can process and talk and see what we want to do moving forward. And so building that relationship with the students really, really helped. And I also would recommend carrying a little notepad. I don't know what schools are starting in person or virtual, but either way, just have something you can take notes on, because it's fun to watch students grow and change, and you kind of take note of what triggers them or what got them excited all of a sudden now, or even like, oh, every time we do math, little Derek all of a sudden gets sleepy or they forget their pencil. And it's like, maybe math is something that they're uncomfortable with. Maybe they're nervous to do it. And you go and you talk to them about it, like, hey, one-on-one, by the way, don't ever call your students out. One-on-one afterwards to say, hey, let me talk to you after class real quick. I want to just talk about something. And just ask them, like, what's going on? I'm noticing this. I'm noticing that during math, you get a little nervous and you want to shut down, and just kind of take note of that. And also things that get them excited. Oh, when one of the students started reading this certain book, all of a sudden they got very passionate. They were quiet before. Take note of that so you can just keep fine tuning your class and making sure that it's a constant fit. It's easy to make a fit in the beginning of the school year. Like, this is great, but you got to be able to make those changes as time goes on, because those students are going to grow and they may outgrow your original concept of a class, and it's okay. Doesn't mean you're a bad teacher. Just be flexible with them. Have days when they come in and they're just kind of like bummed out, and you can see it, and you're like, you know what? Learning spelling words, we can skip that today. Let's take this next hour and just kind of, hey, everybody, I'm huge on art. So I had pastels, paints, oils, everything. Everybody go in the art cabinet for the next hour, just do whatever. Draw whatever. You can trace, you can paint, you can scribble, you can put your head down, listen to music, I don't care. But after that hour, we are definitely getting to work. I just want to give you guys this hour to kind of just, relax and de-stress. And then we can come in there with a fresh mind, feeling good. And again, with your students of color, for me, I felt comfortable if students of color came up to me and asked like racial questions. Hey, I saw this in the news and I'm kind of nervous right now. And I saw people outside in these trucks and they kind of scared me. And it's like, it's okay. Hey, come talk to me. Everybody else work on something. I had the flexibility of having instructional assistants to kind of work with students. Not everybody has that luxury. but put a video on and just pull that kid to the side real quick and just hash it out. And if you don't feel comfortable addressing some of those questions, find somebody on your site who is comfortable, who you already know is comfortable. First of all, don't approach them for the first time and say, hey, can you deal with this race question? If you have someone on site who you already know is comfortable doing those things, hey, why don't you go talk to this teacher? I'll walk you over there and just chop it up, because you'd be surprised how much stuff. Kids are sponges. And we always say that with, like, they'll see someone do something crazy, but they're just sponges of everything, good, bad, crazy, scary. So they're holding all that knowledge. And there was probably not one house last year that didn't have the news on 24/7. So they're waking up, eating their breakfast, and just seeing all this craziness in the world and bringing it all in, not knowing how to take it out and process it, and just coming to school with this huge burden already. And the worst thing you could do is not acknowledge that and focus on, hey, we got to get these academics done today. So another thing is the importance of positive feedback language. People hear enough bad stuff in the world, even as adults. You can hear, anybody can insult you, cut you off, flip you off, do whatever all day, and you are completely not in control of that. But you are in control of how you talk to others. And students see the exact same things, maybe even more so, because they're still going through the stages of possibly getting bullied and not feeling like they fit in anywhere. So those words have like super impactful forces on them. And so even when the student does their work incorrectly, I still use positive feedback language instead of saying, oh, that's not it, or you're wrong. I've had times where I was in high school and I bravely answered a question, not even sure if I knew, but I was being brave about it because I felt confident. And the teacher's just like, nope, in front of everybody, and just picks the next person. And it crushed me. Like, why would I want to raise my hand again? Why would I want to participate again if the risk of me getting it wrong causes such humiliation and embarrassment? So try different words like, oh, you're close, don't give up, you're almost there, show me how you got it. Let's try something a little different. I see you. I use that a lot. I really be boosting my kids up so much. If they can't read like any words, and if they can read one word, like just them saying one word, oh my gosh, you would have thought they won an Oscar. I'm like hype. I'm playing music. I'm clapping. I'm like, you did it. I knew you could do it. You just got to be like super hype for the kids sometimes. But they get so much negative feedback in their life already that it's like, why not just be that constant and consistent positive well of feedback language? And imposter syndrome and assessments, this is a big thing right here, especially for people who are maybe teaching secondary where assessments are like more, you have them like more throughout the week. One thing I did was implement SEL strategies into my assessments. I had practiced it for my TPA and I just found great success with it. So implementing SEL strategies keeps the students motivated and encouraged and just feeling good. Oh man, it's not showing. It's all good though. What it would have shown is that before the assessment, I had a poll on there asking the students, how confident do they feel about taking this assessment? How confident do you feel knowing what we learned throughout the week and what we studied about taking this test? And it just gave those students time to both reflect and also focus on the task at hand, knowing that they had other stuff in their mind. Instead of just dropping the paper in front of them or whatever, I brought them into the world they needed to be in at the time. Here's a safe space where you're cared about and also a space of learning. And I've created these boundaries around us where you are protected and you can trust yourself and feel confident. Oh, here it is right here. See, how confident do you feel about taking this test? And they got the answer. I feel very confident. I feel a little confident. I don't feel too confident. And it just kind of helped them, because sometimes you may come in there thinking you feel confident and you really, as soon as you see the paper, you're scared. Or the opposite, you think you're going to fail, so you don't even take the time to kind of get yourself focused. And when the paper comes in, you know everything, but you've already out of sight, out of mind. This allowed them to kind of center themselves and take themselves out of the world. And another great thing to do is share the data with the students at the end of the test. And this will all be anonymous. So it will look similar to this, no names on there at all. But I don't believe in handing back papers because all the grades are different. And to some kids, they may get discouraged. They look over and see someone else's higher score, and now they're over for the day. So I just show all the data generalized data for the scores on the board with no names. And I'm like, hey guys, as a class, this is how we did. What do you think we could do next time to ensure that we're all in the blue or we're all in the whatever? Where could we change? Did you guys enjoy how we did the index cards, or would you do something more hands-on? Did you like the vocabulary? And it just allowed the students to kind of be open. It was all feedback that bounced off each other. Oh, Mr. Torrey, I didn't really enjoy having to write 3 sentences because I can only really think of 2, and thinking of that third one really made me forget how to spell the word. All right, I'll take that into consideration. We'll work on that next time. And just kind of learning as a class. I'm real big on learning as a class. I'm learning with my students. They're learning with me. I don't know everything. I definitely still don't know Common Core. One day my job's going to find out. But we are learning together, and it just encourages the students because they're not afraid to not know. Because, hey, sometimes Mr. Torrey don't know either, but I see him over there learning so that he could help us. So I'm also going to work harder. And I'm also going to approach him when I'm lost because I know for a fact he's going to help me, because I also know for a fact he has the tools as we learn. So I think we did make it this far this time, maybe. I was just like busting rhymes just now, but it's all good. Reflection time. I know I get super excited. Let me take a drink from my students got me this mug and they named it Dr. T-Rexio. So that's his name. I need to just, yeah.
So we would love to know, like, take this opportunity, and we've already seen some fabulous responses in the chat, but like, what was one of your takeaways? What is something that maybe that you're like, oh, I need to try this next time that I'm in my class? Just take that time to reflect, and we would love to see some of your responses. If you just want to share that in the chat, we didn't make a space here on the slide deck, but we would love to know what possibly could be a takeaway, what something, maybe you just have a question that possibly we could answer. Oh, Kathy said that she loves the passion, Tori.
Oh,
That's why we love Tori. That is why we love Tori. You can see it, right? Like, he is the kind of teacher that you want to be in a class with, and the love that he has for his kids and the way in which he makes everybody feel comfortable as a learner, right? We're comfortable failing, we're comfortable succeeding, right? We're all in there together. And so, yes, we wanted him to share it. He could go on forever. That's the thing. He can keep going about all these great practices that he has.
And one thing I know that he didn't share this time, but even with him checking in prior to the test, he has a midway question where he asks students to like draw how they felt like so far in the process. And then there's another check-in question at the end, which I was blown away by. And I'm like, I can't wait to like try that out with students in the fall. So not only like pre-checking, self-assess, but he's got that middle one, draw your feelings so far, and then the one at the end where he does another check-in, which is amazing. So we are down to time. We are all on Twitter. We have our Equity in Action Twitter handle, and then we all have our individual ones. We would love to connect with you. Thank you for this opportunity. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us as well. And who do I pass it on to now?
Oh my gosh, thank you guys. That was just amazing. I hope that all of you were able to sort of follow along the chat there. A lot of love being shown there. I gotta say, every time this team speaks, you expand my mind, and I love that. Love you guys for that. So people are still adding into the chat. Our next session, this makes me sad. The last session of this year's Google Camp coming up at 1:10. So make a choice to go see the last session that you want to see this time. The Equity in Action folks had their contacts up there. I can tell you for sure they would love to hear from you, and they are open to hearing from you. Sue, the entire team, thank you very much. Letitia, I see you.
Yeah, I said that I would give the link to access this dependently. So I'll put it in the chat, and then also I'll add it to
the SCED.
The SCED for everyone.
Perfect.
But the link that I just put in, that is student-based, so you'll control the slides. So you have that will be good for an entire year for you to access that. So yeah.
All right.
Thank
Thank you guys. Love it.